Hello and welcome to video number 4, the $1 Million Recruiter Formula. Now in this video we're going to bring together elements of videos 1, 2 and 3. Video number 1 we looked at how to be the expert in your recruitment niche, so why it's key to be the expert and how you can leverage the key A players, what I call mavens in your marketplace, to go from zero to market leadership extremely quickly. In some cases a matter of weeks. Video number 2 we looked at how to create online automated candidate pipelines bringing you A player candidates without making one single call. Video number 3 we looked at how James went from zero to $455,000 worth of job orders in just 2 webinars, getting a 20% conversion rate without making one single outbound sales call. We brought James onto the call, actually onto the video, to share what he did, and so we're showing you that these things work. Now in this session we're going to bring it together into the $1 Million Recruiter Formula, the very same formula clients of mine are using to go from zero, whether it's a brand new agency, to bringing in fees within a matter of weeks, or whether it's candidates and need candidates, how one of our members, Andy, on the last call went from zero to 33 CVs, 23 A-player CVs sent across to the client in just 4 days without making one single call. He actually said that he gets 6 times as much done using this strategy. So what would take him 6 weeks, he did in 4 days. So let's move forward. So this session we're going to look at, number 1, why having an automated, inbound and online system will make you $1 Million recruiter. So everything I do is about automation, it's about inbound, it's about online. I've never made a single sales call in my business. Well, not since I've been using these strategies. I don't chase. Everything's automated, it's inbound and it's online. And that's what my clients apply. Number 2, we're going to focus on my promise to you for this training is to show you how to go from zero to $1 Million recruiter at a rapid pace using the automated inbound online systems. Number 3, I'm going to share with you 5 hot agency principles and having a candidate pipeline of A players and A player clients. I'm going to show you the model that we have developed to get brand new agencies thriving within 28 days and existing agencies to go from 6 to 7 figures. I'm going to take you through a live session on my iPad to walk you through the exact steps on how we did that. I'm going to give you a case study on how a recruiter went from moving from the old school way of things to the new school way of things, how we can move from 6 to 7 figures. So let's jump into this. So what are we doing? Well, why are you here? This is why you're fighting a losing battle. To recap, clients think all us recruiters are the same. We're doing the same things. To candidates, we're all seen as chasing and harassing. There's no differentiation between you and your competitors. Calls don't get answered by clients. Emails and emails do not get replied by candidates. Increases in agency startups means more competition and fees are getting squeezed. Fighting on price is just going to create you as a commodity. We want to do the opposite. For all of my members, we want to make you the expert in your niche. So in fact, you increase fees, if anything. Now all recruiters are doing the same thing. They're chasing, they're harassing, and we need you to be the expert so we can create inbound leads. So there's a system we go through, there's a set of steps. So my $1 Million promise to you is this. I'm going to show you how to differentiate your agency brand. I'm going to show you how to make you the go-to recruiter in your niche. I'm going to show you how to become the most influential recruiter in your niche. I'm going to show you how to get to leadership status and leads within 28 days. I'm going to show you how to set up systems that even a technophobe could use to bring in client leads by inbound methods only, no phones, no chasing on the phone, only speaking to those who want to speak to you. How to use webinars to get clients, candidates and huge visibility. How a brand new agency can use these strategies to create certainty about the future. How an existing agency can go from 6 to 7 figures leveraging my strategies. And I'll give you a case study and examples. So my job today is to invite you to become the $1 Million recruiter you know you can be. That's my invitation. So when would now be a good time to actually move forward and be a $1 Million recruiter? But first, let's focus on 5 hot principles. Number 1, $1 Million recruiter principle number 1. There is a new era in recruitment. There's a new era. Virtually every recruiter I speak to says, I know something needs to change, but I don't know what to do. I know the old way of doing things, they're not effective. I know I need to do something, I don't know what it is. So what is this something? Well, on videos 1, 2 and 3, I've given the exact steps, the exact systems that I use with my clients. And I've been told that in fact we are at the forefront of creating a new era in recruitment. That's not my words, it's what's been said about what we do. I've been told that there's no one else in the world globally who's doing what we're doing. I've been told that there's no one else who's been as innovative in creating online channels for visibility, for creating candidate pipelines, for getting clients in the way that we do. I've been told there's no one else. So there is a new era in recruitment. My passion is to train 100,000 recruiters in this. This is my passion. As you can tell by my voice, I'm extremely passionate about this. I live and breathe this. I spend 6 figures a year myself going to get trained on the latest technologies, and I create what I need to into a different system for you to apply. And I make it idiot proof. If I can do it, it's idiot proof. Everything we want to do should be simple. Your job is to close the sales. My system's jobs are to get you the leads, the positioning, and the candidates and the CVs. Your job's to close. So there is a new era in recruitment, and you're now witnessing, you're now part of it. Now, $1 Million Recruiter principle number 2. The niche expert recruiter makes more money. When you're the niche expert, you're going to make so much more money. Candidates want someone they can look up to. Clients want a knowledge expert, not a meat trader. So when you're the expert in your niche, clients and candidates are going to gravitate towards you. You'll find bypassing the gatekeeper becomes easier. Why? Because the client comes to you. So the niche expert recruiter makes more money. $1 Million Recruiter principle number 3. Inbound beats outbound by 200 to 300 times. I will put up my system against your system of the phones, of sending out emails against my system any day. I'd bet my house on it. Inbound beats outbound by 200 to 300 times. Why? Because we do it in our business. Why? Because our clients do it in their business. We know the results. You know this is the fact. You know it's now a case of you need to bring clients and candidates to you. Now is the time to change. $1 Million Recruiter principle number 4. Automate to work while you sleep. While you're asleep, you've got systems that are getting you new leads. You've got systems that are bringing CVs. You automate your business, then you can scale your business. So you automate to work while you sleep. $1 Million principle number 5. $1 Million recruiters are action takers. What I found time and time again is those who I speak to and those who make a decision and move forward straight away are those who take action. Those who hesitate are those who are going to keep doing the same old things, and in 2-3 years down the line they look back and think, why have I lost my agency? Why am I struggling? It's because I didn't apply what I was shown before. So what I've learned, $1 Million recruiters are action takers. They are the ones who say, I need to change, I'm going to get on with it, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do whatever I need to do it. They make a decision, they make it quickly. And I found that time and time again. So when will now be a good time for you to be an action taker? So let's look at the $1 Million Recruiter model. What does it actually look like? Now obviously I'm taking what we do with our members, and I'm going to try and dissect it down into 60 seconds for you. I'm just going to bring up my iPad once again. So that's from the last session. So what does it look like then? What does a $1 Million Recruiter process look like? There are a set of steps we go through. The first step is we make sure we've got our foundations in place. So what do I mean by that? The first thing we do is we make sure we've got our niche, our LinkedIn and social, and our website, and our email systems up and running. Why? Because what we want to do is make you the leader in your niche. So the first thing we do is we make sure we've got our online collateral reflecting that. So the very first thing we do is focus on the foundational phase. The next thing we do is I'm all about action. We do a 28-day lead blitz. So everyone who joins us within 28 days, we want you actually having leads on in your business, in your pipeline, that you could only have dreamt of before coming to join us. The second thing to 28-day lead blitz, we want to get immediate action. The next part is we want to have your pipeline system set up. So whether it be webinars, we want this set up, running, whether it be for candidates, whether it be for clients, we want that up and running by here. The next step is we focus on you being the expert in your marketplace, the trusted advisor. And the next step is we focus on automation and scale. So what does this look like as an actual before and after? Well, most clients who come to us, they are focused on one-to-one on the phone. It's all outbound. They're stressed and a bit of overwhelm. They know something needs to change but don't know what it is. What we want to do is move you to focus, so you focus you to the masses. So when you speak to the masses. You're inbound and you're the leader in your marketplace. And your business is entirely metrics driven. There's no guesswork. You know exactly what you're doing. So you know every single month, if you run this webinar, you're going to get X amount of leads in it. There is no guesswork. So the $1 Million Recruiter will have understanding about his niche. His online collateral will identify that. So we need to know who our avatar is and what we're focusing on. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to get immediate momentum. You're going to have a 28-day lead blitz, bringing leads straight away. The next thing a $1 Million Recruiter is going to have is a system that runs, that brings in, whether it be clients or candidates. If he runs it once a month, twice a month, it's going to bring in the business he needs. The fourth thing is he's going to be the expert in his marketplace. He's going to be the trusted advisor. And the fifth thing, we're going to build a business that is built on systems, automation, and is scalable. And it takes you out of the business so you can work on the business. This is a $1 Million Recruiter. There is no guesswork involved. There's 100% certainty about what you're doing, and it is systems and steps that is going to make you the $1 Million Recruiter. That's where we're moving to. So very simply, there are 5 key steps there. None of it is rocket science. I live and breathe it in my own business, but those are the steps you need to go to. So write that down. Those are the 5 steps you need to go through. So let's get back to our presentation. I just want to be respectful of time. And let's wrap up on this. So we've got a way of doing business now. It's a way that's online. It's a way that's not chasing. It's a way that positions you as a leader. So what I want to do is share with you a 5-minute quick case study. Charles is a great guy. Been doing things the old-fashioned way, knew something needed to change, and he came to us. And then from his very first webinar, he picked up, I think it's $55,000 search actually on the webinar. Plus about 5 or 6 others asked for more information. But I want to focus on that specific webinar. So let's listen to what Charles did, and then I'm going to take you through the $1 Million model step by step.
You know, the webinar is very different because the webinar is interactive. While you do have to create a storyboard, what's so good about doing a webinar is you're not alone. One of the things that if not for Andy, I would have done a webinar, but it would have been a useless webinar. It would have been one in which myself and somebody else on my team did all the presentation. But you know, if you're the end user listening to the webinar, or the attendee, you got to think to yourself, yeah, I'm not sure if I believe these guys because there's no other speaker, nobody else validating anything.
Yep.
So I would have done it the wrong way. So the right way was that we created a webinar. This one in particular happened to be it was titled The 12 Steps of Recruiting A Players. And we got 3 speakers that, you know, well-known speakers. One was a senior VP of a well-known company, and the other 2 were, one was a VP of talent acquisition for a company, and the third was an HR VP.
Yep.
The problem is that the speaker that we preferred the most, the top person, dropped off the day of the webinar.
But the strategy you use, for those of you who don't understand this, I mean, we will have to move forward in this because of time, but what Charles did is we have a strategy whereby you attract, well, you bring on board mavens. Mavens are industry leaders in your niche, and you get these guys to really endorse subtly, indirectly endorse you and your branding. So you get you get that positioning by alignment. And what Charles did is he identified 3 top A players in his industry, brought them to his webinar. Unfortunately, one of them dropped out on the day of the webinar, so that obviously had a slight impact on the webinar. But as Charles and I were discussing before this call, there are ways that you can ensure that doesn't happen, and that comes from creating a win-win-win for all those attending with the webinar, both either the Maven, Charles's company, but also the attendee. So that's something Charles can improve on next time. The actual making sure the right people move up. But in terms of the webinar itself, Charles, just give us a very brief overview. How long did the webinar last? Who did you have on the webinar, and what results did you get from it?
Okay, we ended up with having over 100. Our max, because of our GoToWebinar, is 100, and we didn't want to do any more than that, to be honest with you, the first time out.
Yep.
So while we had more than 100 that registered for attendance, we had 64 that actually attended.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that is a good number, but we were happy that we had, for a first time out, that number, okay, that attended. I mean, we thought, first timer, that's not bad.
That's awesome. Yep.
The way we set the webinar was really important. We originally thought that the webinar would last for an entire. We tried to shoot for 30 minutes or under. It didn't. It turned out to be actually 43 minutes. Now, after going through webinars with Andy and attending other webinars, I've come to the conclusion that no matter if you try to schedule a webinar for 30 minutes or an hour, it will always go over. Okay.
True.
It's just the way it is. All right. So don't let that worry you, because that's just the nature of the beast. So we were smart about the webinar, because we started off with introducing the speakers, who they were going to be. Then we broke it off into the sections. So as we were presenting the content, the slides on the webinar, it wasn't just or one of my business partners. It was part of that was being presented by the speakers themselves. We thought that was really important, so that the attendees didn't think it was. So it was more believable.
Yep.
Okay, what we're saying. So it was more believable, and the fact that these speakers we had successfully recruited for them. So they were proof positive. At the end of the webinar, so the webinar itself lasted about 22 minutes, and the rest of it, after the 22 minutes, took up to 43, was a Q&A. So, and the Q&A is extremely important, because that's where the real engagement comes in. The real engagement comes in because when people ask questions, you're writing notes, and your notes that you're writing. This is what's so interesting about the Q&A in a webinar. You can get a sense of what information to send that person who asked that question. So we quickly, as soon as the webinar was over, I quickly got on the phone with my business partners, and we realized, wow, wait a second, Joe here, we want to call him, but Jill, we want to send her this information based upon her questions. So we quickly realized that we didn't want to send a prepackaged thank you for attending the webinar excuse me, email, right, that was the same for everybody. But like I said, we quickly learned that, boy, the great thing about the Q&A is we hear the concerns of some of the people asking the questions. We see the chat feedback. Some of them are in the chat window. So we actually delivered 5 different pieces of content after the webinar, including follow-up calls.
Awesome. And you picked up a search from that webinar, that first one, didn't you, Charles?
Yes, we picked up a search from that.
And what was that search worth to you?
It was 54K actually.
54K. So let's just recap the results Charles has gone through here. What Charles has done. So how cool is that? He's run the webinar for the first time, picked up a $54,000 search. But here's the thing. He also picked up a $75,000 search using another one of my inbound strategies. You say here, I got a search recently by using Andy's CCCE approach by sending a specific article to a CTO. So we've got strategies you can use for webinars and other inbound methods. Webinars is one of my key ones, but he's also picked up a $75,000 search by using an article strategy we've got. So what's the key thing we've got here? This is how I want your agency to be. What is this? This is a Parthenon. If one of those pillars falls down, it's going to stand up. Now your agency needs to have many of these pillars. Now most agencies have got outbound calls, outbound calls, outbound calls. That isn't a way to build your business. That isn't a sustainable business model. It's going to kill you, put you into an early grave. Now there are three forces that I focus on: clients, candidates, consultants. This is what you need for your company to grow and be sustainable. So from a candidate perspective, you need a candidate pool of highly skilled candidates which are not available in the open market, not available on job boards. From a client perspective, you need client pipelines with clients who respect you as the authority, who give retained and repeat business. From consultants, you need to attract the best of consultants to you and your brand. So how do we do this? Well, from a client perspective, the $1 Million Recruitment model is about you being the authority, about being the expert recruiter, about being the trusted advisor, about having a candidate pool, and about being the leader and adding value to the niche, the market you're in. From a candidate perspective, we have ways to get highly skilled passive candidates to submit their CVs to you for specific roles when they're already in a role. So the gold dust, the A players. And from a consultant perspective, we want you to be the market leader. We want you to have exposure and systems to bring in leads. When you have that, you're going to get the best consultants. So you're going to hit the trifactor of clients, candidates, consultants. And that is what you need for the $1 Million Recruiter model. So what are the key problems we got? Number one, the key problem with the $1 Million Recruiter is you want to have a business which brings in great money, but there are too many peaks and troughs due to lack of systems. Number two, you don't have a candidate and client sourcing system which can reach hundreds of clients and candidates, so you're chasing them one at a time. Number three, you don't have expert recruiter status, and it's hurting you because you cannot get past gatekeepers and you're seen as just another recruiter, which is costing you time chasing and trying to prove yourself. Now what framework do you need? Well, number one, the framework you need is a Maven system that brings you massive market exposure and visibility. That's how we're going to make you the expert. Number two, you need a framework that's going to bring one-to-many marketing systems that allows you to speak to hundreds of candidates and clients at a time rather than focusing on one-to-one. It's going to save you hundreds of hours. Number three, you need a webinar system that's automated, and it automates your lead generation that can work while you sleep, and it pre-sells you as the authority in your niche. So what lessons have we learned from these videos? Number one, expert status brings you positioning and direct incoming leads. Lesson number two, client webinar systems bring in 5 to 25 leads every time it runs, and it positions you as the authority. That, by the way, is low end. That's in the first couple of webinars you run. Number three, the A-player candidates are those that are not on job boards and are sourced through inbound and not chasing. So let's look at some other examples. Alex Horner, I doubled my business in 5 months and trebled staff. Andy Bourne, automated my candidate pipeline. I have CVs flooding in. On course to treble my business, worth $1.6 million per annum. James Kemper, nearly £500,000 worth of job orders from first 2 webinars. Charles Moore, searches from the very first webinar. In terms of getting visibility as a leader in your marketplace. Belinda Kerr, I had Barack Obama, social media person, speaking at my event. John Sanchez, 1,246 new candidate and client registrations in 8 weeks. This is what you can do. This is what we can get. Now, even global leaders are saying, Roy Ripple, one of the biggest names in recruitment, Mike Walmsley, you need to get Andy Whitehead in your agency before your competitor does. The most innovative strategy is to get clients and candidates without chasing. So my question to you is this: are you my next success story? Are you going to be the next member? So what I want you to do is this: if you haven't watched videos 1 to 4, go back and watch them. If you have watched them, click on the link below, go to my online diary, select a 10-minute discovery call. Now there's a number of questions there. I want you to fill out those questions with as much detail as possible. With that detail, I'm going to do some analysis before the call. We're going to get on that call. We're going to get on a 10-minute discovery call. We're going to do 3 things. Number 1, I want to identify where your business is now. Number 2, I want to identify where your business wants to be. And number 3, identify what are the roadblocks stopping you from getting there. And that's what we're going to do on the 10-minute discovery call. Now, if I think that we can knock it out of the park and I can double your business with you, I'll invite you to a 45-minute strategy call. On that call, we're just going to go in deeper and get really in depth about metrics. So one thing I'm big on is metrics. I want to know that if you want to get $1 million, does that equate to $20,000 per placement? That's 50 placements. Okay, so look at around about 5 placements a month, 1 a week. How do we do that? Okay, we're going to use this model. We're going to use this webinar model. Okay, how many leads do we need? So I want to get focused on where you want to be. The next thing I want to do is come back to today. I want to focus on what are the assets in your business. I want to know about your client database, your candidate database, your current metrics, your LinkedIn networks, and so forth. Number 3, I want to break down into real transparency what stopped you getting there so far and what can we do to implement immediately. On the back of that, I'm going to create a model for you. We're going to swap places and you can ask me any questions you want. Now we used to actually charge for this session $997. We don't do that anymore. But for a select few, we can't do it for everyone. For a select few, we're going to go for that process. So the first thing you need to do is identify, do you want to grow? Do you want to be $1 million recruiter? Do you want to have inbound systems? Do you want to have online systems? Do you want to have automation? If you do, click on the link below, sign up for a 10-minute discovery call. If I think you're a fit, I'll invite you to a strategy call. If I still think you're a fit, one of 2 things are going to happen. Number 1, you're going to ask to work with me. And if I think you're a fit, I may well invite you into my inner circle. If I don't think we're a fit, I'll politely guide you to a resource and give you something that will help you moving forward. But I'm very careful about who I work with. We only work with those we are certain about getting success. So click on the link below, sign up for the 10-minute discovery call, give me as much information as possible. I do hope you can get onto Skype. I'd rather we talk on Skype than on the phone, because while we're speaking I'm going to be taking notes. So get onto Skype and we're going to make this happen. So with that said, watch the full videos if you've not watched them already. If you've taken a shortcut straight to $1 Million Recruiter, go back to videos 1, 2, 3 and 4. If you want to move quickly, click on the link below, sign up for a 10-minute discovery call, but please watch the 3 videos before the call and let's make it happen. These are times of huge opportunity. It's about the niche leader, it's about incoming leads, it's about automation. Let's make it happen. So if you want to be my next success story, click below and I'll speak to you one-to-one. Take care and take action.